The second, or fourth, depending on how you look at it, dimension under which we can view chaos is time. This is an idea that is actually going to be more familiar to you than fractals, and it's where chaos actually got its name. To explain what it is, though, I first need to introduce a bit of vocab. The first thing you need to know is something called a dynamical system, which is basically a system that can change with time. A dynamical system consists of some variables, which are things capable of changing with time, and some dynamical equations, which are equations of motion. There can be multiple variables, or only one, and any given variable can be continuous or discrete. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is the value of the variable, because that is what determines the state of the system at any given time. Complete knowledge of all the variables would grant us complete knowledge of all the states of the system. So if two similar systems have the same values for their variables and are in the same states now, then they will evolve in the same way. The set of all the values of the variables of a system is called the phase space. Given that the present state of a system in phase space is a point, the dynamical equations are responsible for figuring out how the point moves. Going forward, the point becomes a trajectory that can be calculated using the dynamical equation. Typically, you're given the state of the system at a certain time, which is called the initial conditions, and then you calculate the trajectory. Chaos in time is defined by something called sensitivity in initial conditions. It basically says that in any chaotic system, two sets of initial conditions that are very similar but not the same will exponentially grow apart as more time goes on. Sensitivity in initial conditions was discovered entirely on accident by Edward Lorenz, a meteorologist. Lorenz had wanted to re-examine a data sequence coming from a model. To save time, he started in the middle of the run and used a slightly rounded number. Instead of getting a model that matched the original, the new run quickly lost all resemblance and diverged rapidly. This is the source of a relatively famous phenomenon dubbed the butterfly effect, and the question at the heart of it is this: can one flap of the butterfly's wings change the weather halfway across the world? No, of course not, you say, yet it could very well happen. Weather systems are highly chaotic, which is why it is impossible to predict it with accuracy more than a few days in advance. Even though there are much bigger generators of change in airflow, such as airplanes, the flap could and probably would be able to slightly change perhaps the speed or the wind or the direction or some other aspect of it that could compound until, bam, you have a hurricane heading your way, when without that light flutter of the butterfly's wings, the skies would have been sunny and clear that day.